So right now there is an unbelievable amount of smoke surrounding the Jaguars wanting to make a big move for a wide receiver. A lot of times where there is smoke, there is fire. When a bunch of different people are talking about it, when you see it in a bunch of different mock drafts, when you hear different like analysts or NFL insiders talking about it, it's something that you should definitely kind of consider potentially happening. And look, the Jaguar, we are 1 week away from the NFL draft, and we are getting to the point of draft fatigue where we're talking about it, talking about it, and talking about it, and we just kind of wanted to be here. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of different smoke screens, a lot of stuff really in the next week. So the Jaguars' real needs are look, they need offensive line, they need defensive line. Those are a couple things. But will they draft those positions in the first round? I don't know because right now it looks like if you draft either of those positions, then they're going to slate to be a backup in year one. So would you rather draft a guy in round one that is going to be an immediate plug and play starter, or would you rather draft a guy that's a really good value, that maybe they're a backup for a year as they transition into like something new, going into the next year, or they're there in case of an injury that goes down? But I feel like if you draft a wide receiver or cornerback in the first round, both of those guys will be able to pretty much start week one and have an immediate impact for the Jaguars. Now, it's interesting the difference between a cornerback, and wide receiver because right now I feel like the Jaguars need a good cornerback. Okay, they need a good, solid cornerback that is starting caliber, that is, potentially upper echelon, but just a guy that can hold down the position. Doesn't even need to be all that flashy, just a guy to hold that down. But while the Jaguars need a good cornerback, it feels like the Jaguars need an elite wide receiver. That's the thing that's missing because the Jaguars have a pretty good group, it feels like. Like you like Christian Kirk, you like Gabe Davis, you like Evan Ingram as a receiving target. But where is the Jamar Chase in this offense? Where is the Justin Jefferson in this offense? They are not there. And those guys you don't just find in free agency, okay? Those guys, take a special level of drafting to be able to nail the draft pick and then, all of a sudden you have a guy that you never want to leave your team forever. That's kind of how that works. So really when you look at this situation where, could the Jaguars trade up? Look, there is three different receivers that are kind of in that upper tier of wide receiver, and then it feels like there is kind of a gap and then a different tier. Okay, there's Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, and Roma Dunze. And honestly, like as we get closer to the draft, they're kind of shaking up the wide receiver pecking order. At first, it was like Marvin Harrison Jr. He is going to be the first quarterback taken in this draft. But then you've been seeing recently, Malik Nabers has kind of been shooting up past Marvin Harrison in some mock drafts. And you've seen some kind of shakeup over there. And, what will really happen? Now, if the Jaguars trade up, I've been saying you need to look for the number 8 spot, number 9 spot, or number 10 spot. Number 8, you have the Falcons. Number 9, you have the Bears. Number 10, you have the Jets. I don't think I think these three receivers will be definitely taken, in the first 10 picks, okay? And you definitely got to have a little bit of luck. You got to hope that, maybe 5 quarterbacks are taken in the first 10 picks, which is going to push these guys up. You got to hope that, maybe some offensive linemen go. Maybe a team is really high on a cornerback or an edge rusher, and then that pushes some of the receivers back a little bit more. So John Shipley from Sports Illustrated actually predicted that in his latest mock draft that the Jaguars move from pick number 17 to number 9 overall and only giving up a second round pick, only giving up the number 48 pick in the second round, which would be very interesting. Also, Shipley says that the Jags are reportedly very, very high on Nabers. And if the Jaguars were to move up for a wide receiver, it would be for a guy like Malik Nabers. Now, Nabers would immediately fit that role of just getting an explosive wide receiver. He can line him up anywhere. He can play the outside. He can move him into the slot. You can really move him around like a chess piece. But overall, he would just be an elite wide receiver threat for the Jaguars. Now, Tony Pauline actually did report last month. I don't know how much merit this has. I just want to drop it here. He says that there are some red flags surrounding Malik Nabers, and that there have been some off-field issues that have kind of risen up during the pre-draft process. Now, how true is that? I have no idea. I can only tell you guys what I hear. I can only tell you guys what these guys that apparently have inside sources have to say about it. So there's that. So does that push them back a little bit? I don't know. We'll see. But there are definitely different routes the Jaguars can go at receiver. First of all, there is this move where the Jaguars could trade up from 17 to number 9 overall. And look, if you guys support this video sponsor, BetUS, you guys can actually go on BetUS and predict the Jaguars or predict any team to select Malik Nabers at number 9 overall. And look, BetUS is, if you guys have a BetUS account, let me know your account information. We're going to give you a free $25 of free play. And if you want to just mess around and put $25 on this move, you have the potential to win a free $400 with that. With this video sponsor, BetUS, America's #1 sport book. Look, they're currently offering a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,500. That means if you put in $500 and you're going to see $1,250 show up in your account for you to play with. And of course, BetUS has 24/7 customer service and quick 24-hour payouts. So you guys can click the link at the top of my description to be able to get in on this deal. Now let's get a quick word from BetUS.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
So if a trade-up does fall through, if worst case scenario for the Jaguars in this draft, it goes quarterback, 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 and then wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, and then all of a sudden it's well, shoot. You know what I mean? Did not work out for us. I don't know how high the Jaguars are on a Brian Thomas Jr. There's been some talk that A.D. Mitchell probably won't even be a first rounder because of some off-field issues that he has. So, does that put the Jaguars in a little bit of a gray area for, being able to get that elite receiver? Well, could Brandon Aiyuk still be an option? Now, there's a guy on Twitter. His name is @PrettyRicky213. It's a Twitter account that it's just like a fan, but my gosh, he was on point during NFL free agency. He was calling out things before they happened. He called the, Brian Burns trade before that trade happened. He called the whole Calvin Ridley situation about, a dark horse AFC South team being in the mix. So he definitely has a lot of, he's definitely a legit person. And, he restarted his Twitter account after he got kind of axed by whoever. I don't know. There's NFL insiders that were opposed to him having his account, but after 4 hours of reactivating his Twitter, he gained 1.8 thousand followers. So, he is out there. Actually, he put some interesting tidbits out there about the Jaguars in this draft process. So he started out tweeting this morning that there are 3 teams in play for Aiyuk. That's Washington and New England made some strong offers, and the Giants are in play. If Aiyuk is traded, expected to be to New England, Washington, or New York Giants. And then he also later on went on to say, I've also been told the Jaguars have interest in Aiyuk, but they really want to get the Trevor Lawrence deal done first. He will be the highest paid QB in the league soon. #Duval. So I know I made a video not too long ago about the Trevor Lawrence situation. And look, like I said, if you're a pro Trevor Lawrence guy and if you believe in Trevor Lawrence, then you want to get that deal done as soon as you can, because the Trevor Lawrence deal and the structure of it is going to shape what you can do with the rest of your team for the next several years. Okay. So, with the Jaguars being able to get Trevor Lawrence, it's a lot easier to forecast what it's going to be like to pay a wide receiver like Brandon Aiyuk, like how you're going to be able to factor into playing him. Because, of course, if you have that Trevor Lawrence deal looming out there, that's going to be a lot of money, and then you may not have as much freedom to do what you want to do in that deal. So with Brandon Aiyuk, it would have to be a draft day trade. It would have to be, oh my gosh, these wide receivers have gone. And then you do a similar thing with the A.J. Brown to the Eagles situation, where the Eagles are on the clock, and then boom, they made a trade. Now the Tennessee Titans are on the clock, and the Tennessee Titans just gave the Eagles A.J. Brown for that pick. It would have to be a situation like that. And, of course, Brandon Aiyuk wants that money, okay? So there might already be like a contract pretty much known about what he is going to get. So with that, those are some things, and those are some tidbits, and those are some rumors going around the NFL today. So one more week, there's going to be a lot of different smoke screens that we're going to hear over the course of this next week. So it'll be exciting to kind of be able to see it all go down. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Go Jags.